Jack Foy. He was with a group of guys, youngsters who travelled recently, and he was the youngster. He was the youngest of his group, and they decided to go to France. Uh, Jack Foy is 99 years young. And the reason why they went to France, of course, is the 80th anniversary of the beach landing in Normandy,
Mm.
or as it's popularly called, D-Day.
Yeah.
And he went in this group with about 20 who actually took part in the invasion. This year, D-Day is going to be commemorated probably for the last time
Mm.
by actors who were there, who took
Mm.
part in the invasion. Uh, 15 Canadians were there, are there,
Mm.
with a handful who fought in 1944. The youngest of the group is 98,
Mm.
and the oldest of the group, an old codger,
Yeah.
is 104. So
Mm.
he's got some resistance, more than the French have.
Okay. Yeah.
About 40 British World War II vets are also there.
Yeah.
Uh, Several heads of state are going to attend as well. However, Putin, he's been deemed the black sheep of the family,
Mm.
and he wasn't invited, although Russia was an important part of World War II.
Yes. Yeah, they did have a
Uh,
big part in it.
but,
Yes. Mm.
but what can you do? Oddly enough, Zelensky was.
Mm.
He was invited to go.
Of course.
Well, I don't know why, of course. I don't know. I'm not too sure of what
Mm.
Ukraine, which was part of Russia at the time,
Well,
uh, you
yeah.
know. So,
Yes.
Zelensky's not really. He was there for political reasons, I'm sure.
Yes.
Um, Now, King Charles, he's there
Mm.
along with his many medals that he wears
Okay.
uh, on these occasions. I think on this occasion he might have stepped on the ball a little bit, um, because yesterday he attended the D-Day commemorations in Portsmouth.
Mm.
Probably took place alongside the ship that doesn't leave port
Yeah.
because it's broken. Uh, and he wore 10 medals on his breast,
Right.
proudly, as you would imagine any king would.
Yes. Well.
But what were the medals for? Why did he get the medals? So here we go. One was marking the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in
Okay.
1953, and one for his own coronation last year. Four commemorating the jubilees of his mother as her reign was celebrated over the years. So he's got one. He's got one for the silver, one for the golden, one for the diamond, and one for the platinum jubilee.
Okay.
Uh, he wore an Order of Merit medal
Mm.
from a select group of people. Uh, Only 24 members of the group in this select group of people. So when they present, I think they must take it in turns to award each other this Medal of Merit and backslap each other.
Yes.
Must be a backslapping ceremony somewhere.
Middle three. Yeah.
He got a badge for the Royal British Legion,
Mm.
uh, a remembrance poppy,
Yes.
and his status as an armed forces vet.
Mm.
His other medals included the Queen's Service Order, a Naval Long Service and Good Conduct Medal,
Yeah.
which I'm sure is something that Andrew and Harry won't be able to receive, because King Charles, he was in the Navy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's in the Navy for quite a time. But anyway,
Just correct name. Yeah.
a Canadian Forces decoration.
Mm.
Didn't know that he was part of the Canadian Forces. A New Zealand Commemorative Medal and New Zealand Armed Forces Award.
Right. Okay.
None of them were for battles. None of them were for, apart from perhaps the Navy medal,
Yeah.
is for time served in the military.
Yeah.
All the others are like you could buy from the souvenir shop in London. You know, the commemorative medals for the
Yeah.
Queen and
Yes.
all
Yeah.
this, and his coronation, his mother's coronation, her
Yeah.
jubilees. And it's almost as if he's like the king in his new clothes. Do you remember that story of the king in his new
Yeah.
clothes, where the
Yes.
king thought he was all important wearing these clothes, when
Mm.
really there was nothing important on him.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Understand.
right.
Yeah.
Prince William, who was with him yesterday at
Yeah.
Portsmouth, not to be outdone,
Mm.
he wore the Great Master of the Most Honourable Order of the Bath medal.
Okay. Sounds good.
So it must be like a group like the Buffaloes in the UK, you know,
Mm.
where they have a lodge. They have a lodge, and he's
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, three of his nana celebratory medals, you know, for the
Mm.
Silver
Yeah.
Jubilee, right? And his dad's coronation medal.
Mm.
Once again, nothing to for battles or being a war hero. And
Yes.
I'm not too sure if it was appropriate for them to wear these medals, because it's making a mockery, in my view, my
Mm.
personal view, it was making a mockery of wearing medals
Yes.
for war heroes.
Mm.
You know, it's like they were wearing them not to be outdone by anybody who risked their lives and was under the hail of bullets in 1944. Not to be outdone by them, you
Yeah.
know, and they wear them just to make themselves look important. Although, I mean, as a celebrity, the king, yeah, is an important guy,
Yeah.
you know,
Is that
but
right? Yeah.
he doesn't need to turn up with a string of which, for all intents and purposes, are souvenirs pinned to his chest, you know. But
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
so anyway, you know, I've got that off my chest.
Right. Yeah.
Today is the real commemoration
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
D-Day. Apparently, D-Day was to go ahead on the 5th of June,
Mm.
1944, but they had to put it back a day to the
Yes.
6th of June, and that's why today the main celebration. While this is going on, while
Yeah.
this while this is going on,
Yeah.
the Eurovision Song Contest of politics is taking place over all these politicians trying to climb the greasy pole
Yeah.
politics all across Europe,
Oh.
where I think where as they say, les gens de droite seems to be ruling the roost. If
Yeah.
if the polls are anything to go by, and I mean the polls, not the Polish people, but the
Yeah.
polls.
Yes. I got what you meant. It took me a second, but yes. Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. So
Yes.
they basically there you have it. I'm sure that you're the history buff. I'm sure
Yeah.
you're gonna give us a small uh soupçon of what it was like on the Normandy beaches, and away you go.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm going to start off by talking about Zelensky. Zelensky seems to get invited to the opening of an envelope. Let's be honest about it. So,
Yes, it does.
the fact his little head pops up anywhere does not surprise me. No disrespect to the people of Ukraine. Well, I appreciate your suffering, but yeah, let's be honest about him. It is a it's yeah. As regards Prince Charles and the medals, I mean, yeah, what is our king for? I do actually agree with what you're saying. Stand there, be the head of state. Yeah, let's not do the puffed out chest, as it were. I mean, okay, somebody's told him, or yeah, it's probably acceptable to wear these medals. Somebody from the military could probably tell you. Is he a proud king of the nation? Yes, his presence being there, and the future king, the future monarch, being there as well. Although he's got his own problems, probably with a very sick wife, from what I can tell. So
No,
yeah,
no, the king hasn't got a sick wife.
no, the king to be.
He's sick.
Yeah, he's sick. Now the king, the future king of England, King William or Prince William. Sorry,
Yes.
Prince William.
Yep.
Prince William. Yeah, he's got a very ill wife, and
That's right.
we can't wish that upon any. Yeah, I won't wish that upon anyone. But yeah, obviously, but yeah, so he's got his own problems. Yeah, I mean, as to giving these awards and things, yeah, I mean, it's ironic that the two members of the royal family who actually have served in battle, as it were, are living a little bit under a little bit of a cloud at the moment, to say the least. Yeah, I'm not going to go down that at the moment. But yeah, as regards, yeah, we're going to pay tribute. I've often thought about this, and then we talk about the millennial generation, the Gen Z. I reflect upon this myself. I mean, I did a lesson yesterday about this, and not directly about D-Day, although I'll get on to another relative of mine in a minute that I've just remembered, which is not about. Yeah, I mean, the person I'm named after actually lost his life in January 1945 on a ship off the coast of Scotland, which got torpedoed by a U-boat. Yeah, his name was Mark Townsend as well. Yeah, I've actually written a lesson about this to show my students. Yeah, so again, members of my family got affected. My grandfather served on the Merchantman doing the Atlantic runs. I am getting back to the D-Day people in a minute, but again, so brave men to be proud of. Even on the civilian home front, and this is why these people fought, the civilian home front. My own grandfather died. He was a bit older, so he couldn't serve. But he actually died during a bombing of London. Either a V1 or a V2 exploded near the family home. He got blown across the room, basically died in my grandmother's arms, just before my mother was born, funny enough. She doesn't mind me telling this story. I'll tell lots of people. So yeah, it's difficult for people who haven't lived in the UK to appreciate this, and probably the younger generation. I'm probably, my generation, my age group, are probably the last people, or will be the last people, to have contact with anyone who served in World War II. And I've spoken to many. In fact, I've got a collection back in the UK of different things as well. Yeah, now, I found out some years ago, and I never found out before the poor guy died, more about this. Before D-Day happened, one of my mother's uncles actually went on I think you call them SBS now, special boat service, but a very similar thing to that, before D-Day happened, to do reconnaissance, I think. Yeah, to say that these guys went on the beach blind, and it was still horrific. Let's not mix it. But yeah, they did have a lot more intelligence than probably has ever been admitted. He was on a landing party just before, Again, I don't know the full details. He died before I could get any more out of him. So these people were brave. And I've just mentioned a couple of my own family, and my grandfather remember burning to death in oil. And I think he said it didn't matter if they were English or German or who they were. It's a horrible death, and war is horrible, horrific. These guys going up on the beaches in D-Day, I don't know if I could do it. I've been reading about it after the event. They didn't know what they were going into, really. When with hindsight, if somebody said to me, go get those guns, sir, I don't know if I could do it. I really don't. Am I a coward? I think I'm a pragmatist. Yeah, I mean, in the military, you are prepared, and I was going to go in the military once, and that's another story I've told. What's the story I've told before? But yeah, okay, when you're in when you're in the military, you choose to be there in the UK. Yeah, this is why conscription is not always a good idea. When you've got a professional military, you are taught to do that, and that is your job, and you accept it. These guys didn't exactly choose the military. A lot of them didn't choose the military as a career choice. They were put in exceptional circumstances. Yeah, we've seen from Hollywood, Saving Private Ryan, the big red hot one, or the big red one is another film that I remember watching when I was younger. It had Mark Hamill out of Star Wars in it, if anyone wants to check it out. And Lee Marvin, in Star Wars, but famous actor. Shows some of the horrific things these people faced. And we have to remember, okay, it's fighting against the Germans. The Germans held a defensive position. They suffered as well. And the more you read about what happens, and now with hindsight and everything else afterwards, yeah, we've got to remember. And this is why, and I'm going to get political here, when I see how these politicians across Europe behave, yes, we should all be friends. We should all work as one. But they are selling us out. They're telling us how to think. They're not letting us be free. My relatives, my ancestors' relatives, died for freedom. End of story. They died so I could be free. They died so I can have an opinion. And then to be told I'm not allowed to have an opinion anywhere in the world. Yeah. I want to make a better world like anyone else does. But I want everybody to decide together for that. Yeah. And that's what these people died for. And these people, brave men there, were fighting for. And we have to remember, not every German who's defending their position agreed with their administration. We call it administration now. Not every German agreed, and they died. What for? So I think this is what this whole means to me about these commemorations. Let's hope we never face it again. Unfortunately, we have politicians who are racing towards it very rapidly.
That's the phrase that they have on Poppy Day, lest we forget.
Yeah.
And people misconstrue lest we forget to think it's if we forget, when it actually means we will never forget. It's never to forget. And I think there's a guy, a songwriter called, I'm sure he's still alive, I suppose, Eric Bogle.
Yeah. Yes.
He wrote a song called the band played Waltzing Matilda.
Matilda, the Australian, yeah.
And whenever the fact that this D-Day is probably going to be the last D-Day where original actors of D-Day in 1944 are going to be present, unless you get some stalwart who lives to be 115 or 16.
Yeah.
When the next one should be done.
Yeah.
The last verse of this song, and the band played Waltzing Matilda.
I know, yes.
Is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. And I think that when when we talk about the Gen Zs of this world,
Mm.
you know, if these dates are forgotten, then we're gonna hit another brick wall with another war, for sure, for sure.
Well, I mean, my daughter is well aware of my great uncle, who gave his life on the ship that I just described, and she'd actually in Brazil did a presentation about this.
Yep.
She asked me, yeah, because she asked me that because she picked it up when she was quite young, the story, and yeah, yeah, I mean, I did some online tracing. It's all online, and I found, yeah, I've got a picture of his grave, and I was given his medals, his post-war service medals posthumously because my name is the same as his. So I've got them. I don't know where they're going to go afterwards because, you know, it's like you say, the younger generation are losing a bit of touch with it all. I mean, yeah, when it's not being taught in schools, as far as I understand, or many younger people do not know what D-Day is about. From a poll I saw the other day, I don't know who they're asking. And yeah, the questions are is this history relevant now? Of course it's relevant. It's all about the freedoms we all had.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have today. And hopefully we will always continue to have. You and I should be able to sit here and criticise our politicians until we're blue in the face. Whether or not anyone will listen or not, but that's our right to do it, providing we don't call on anything worse than a criticism. You and I would not call on, yeah, even especially throwing milkshake on people as well, even that level, as humorous as it might seem, is not an acceptable form of behaviour in a free society. Being able to tell someone you're wrong, then explaining why you believe it to be, and then allowing them to explain back is fair enough. And that to me is what freedom is. And I'm afraid, yes.
My late Uncle Jimmy, James Shan, his name, he took part in the other beach. Dunkirk.
Yes. The evacuation of Dunkirk. Yes.
He survived. He survived, and he got his Dunkirk medal as well. Which is why it gives me I get a flea behind my ear when King Charles is with his mum's commemorative medals for a silver jubilee. I think I've got a medal somewhere in England of the Queen's. You can buy them in a souvenir shop.
Well,
sad.
I don't know what to say. I mean, at least he was there commemorating it, and I think we have to accept that. And you mentioned Russia, and I'm going to mention this: the Russians did play well. Without the Russians, we would probably still be having problems.
We'd be speaking German now.
I'm not over sure about that. There'd have been something else probably happened. It still wouldn't have been possible, but certainly the Russians had a massive part to play. And without, if you like, D-Day happening, remember that the invasion of Britain was actually cancelled, Seawolf, and then the Russians took the brunt of it. So whatever else is going on in the world, for Russia to not be invited as a people is an insult to brave people as well. Whatever you might think of Russian society and the way, it goes on, and you have to remember that, the Russians also feared their own administration as much as the Germans probably did. Again, I mean, the Russians really hated the Nazis with a passion. And there's some horrific stories when they went into Berlin as well.
The point I was trying to make is that the Second World War was not just one battle.
No,
it was over 5 years, more or less.
It was a massive,
so many different battles on so many different fronts, and an awful lot of pain and suffering. And this is what the youngsters of today can't. Not know.
Yeah, well, my other great uncle